With us is Patrick.
Patrick Gilmore.
He is
Gilmore,
from
hello.
Amazon Game Studio. Tons of exciting stuff, huge announcements this week, and a really cool looking booth on the floor here.
Yeah.
at TwitchCon.
I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting.
You should be. It's great.
It looks really good. So the game that's getting the most amount of attention on the floor, of course, Breakaway.
Right.
Awesome experience, but you had 3 really big announcements this week.
Yeah,
Tell us
we
about
did,
them.
Well, 4 if you count the Twitch Prime announcement.
Right,
today.
right.
3 really big announcements in terms of games. We had Crucible, we announced New World, and then we announced Breakaway.
Yep. So what's really interesting to me, and I wonder if you could elaborate on it a little bit more. From what I understand, Twitch is really built into the guts of the games themselves. Tell me a little bit about what was the motivation to do that and how that's starting to play out in these early phases of development.
Well, in the case of Breakaway, this is a team that their last game was Killer Instinct. They watched a lot of stream, they watched a lot of broadcasters, they were really focused on competitive play, and so Twitch was just woven into their culture. And this was long before Amazon acquired Twitch.
Right.
We were actually working on a different game, and we got wind of that acquisition was potentially going to happen, and we literally said, okay, we're going to do something for this community specifically, and that was really the genesis of Breakaway. So as far as the game itself is designed to be fun to broadcast, and sort of serendipitously that also makes the game really fun to play because it makes it showy, lots of spectacle, great pacing, so it turns out a lot of the things that you do to make a game fun to watch also make it fun to play. But then more deeply than that, there's a bunch of features that we've created that are piped deeply into the game. So MetaStream is a good example of that. So MetaStream is just a data pipe that comes out of the game and broadcasters can use as an overlay on their streams. So we provide all this raw data so you can look at what types of builds are different players using, what types of matchups, or who's going to win in a matchup, what's possession time for one team or another. Allows you to start to pitch allows you to start to sort of pick match outcomes and see what strategies work well in the game. And it's all very data driven, and it's just based on telemetry that comes straight out of the game.
I mean, as an esports guy and an esports enthusiast, my mind is spinning with all the things that you could do with a stream of that kind of data.
Who doesn't, like a batter, in baseball, a batter steps up, everybody wants to know what his average
Everything.
is, right? Yeah, exactly. So this is a way to get all that data and get it right there on the screen.
And in real time.
In real time, in ways that you can talk about it and comment on it. Yeah.
That's incredible. So tell us about Crucible a little bit.
Yeah. So Crucible is a last man standing multiplayer game. What's really interesting is the broadcaster is a player in the game at the same time as the rest of the team are, but the broadcaster kind of plays this almost game master kind of a role. So think about something like the Hunger Games where massive things can change in the environment and they impact the gameplay. Well, now you've got a game master who's hosting all of this, who's interacting with viewers, taking requests from viewers, but also changing the map and changing the outcomes, changing what players have to react to.
It feels like it's born of the same kind of space that D&D started with, right? Like a dungeon master sort of leading you through the experience.
So what's interesting, what I find really interesting about Crucible is, ultimately the broadcaster is there to put on a great show.
Right.
Right, so they're not there to troll people, but that's kind of part of the fun too.
Sure.
So, and it changes the way, there's this pure skill that you have to do well in a game like that, but then you also got to know, this game master's here, and I don't want to make him mad, so I don't want him to troll me, so there's this weird kind of social game that gets played.
On top of the actual game.
On top of the skill-based game. And it's no less valid than the skill-based game. It's just like, so that the personality dynamics that come into play in a game like Crucible are super
It's a
fascinating.
social meta.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds not like only a video game, but like a social experiment.
And in the tests that team is doing, that's how it's playing out. And
that's brilliant. I mean, it feels to me like I think it's pretty staid now, but Survivor was built on that, right? The sort of alliance and the way that people have a social meta game on top of skill.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So you've got like a hardcore third-person shooting skill. You also got this mechanic of alliance and betrayal.
Right.
Because players can buff each other, but only one. There can only be one winner of the game. So you want to be in alliances with people you're way more powerful.
To a point.
But at some point, you're going to have to say thanks, that was helpful, and then let go.
Awesome.
So the social dynamics come into play there.
And
too.
then New World also is a third title.
Yeah, New World is the other title in addition to Breakaway that's being developed at the Orange County studio. It's an open world survival crafting, so it's a spin on that genre, which is kind of blowing up right now. And basically the idea behind it is, imagine the New World of the United States, like the 16th century New World. Imagine you're a colonist coming over you kind of cross the halfway mark in the Pacific Ocean. There's no turning back. And all the superstitions and nightmares and all the things that you dread being true about the new world, actually those are real in our version of the game. So it's not the virgin land that actually it turned out to be. It's this cursed, haunted, nightmarish land that was the stuff of all these European legends and folklore, what they dreaded coming into. That's actually what's there.
That sounds incredibly cool.
Yeah, and it's like, I'll tell you, it's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Like the work that the team is doing on that game is just like, it's jaw-dropping.
And
really
then all of this is connected to Lumberyard, right?
Everything's built on Lumberyard. Everything's built on Lumberyard.
And so that's a massive slate to roll out with. You've
Yeah,
got
it's
3
true.
titles, 3 very different genres, and then an engine that you're really making available to people to develop on. You really want to encourage developers to play.
The engine is free. You know, and a big, you know, we're here to build businesses around our games. We need to survive as game developers inside of Amazon, just like any external game developer, and that's by design because we're trying to build. We're the first water through the pipes for other customers who are using Lumberyard.
Sure.
So all these, every single new release of Lumberyard, we take it first. We start using all these new features. We sit side by side with the engineers who are developing that stuff. We give them feedback. We harden all these APIs. We make it more robust. We make the whole technology pipeline stronger for everybody else. And Lumberyard's not just the authoring tool. It's not just the engine and the runtime. We think of Lumberyard as this whole suite of services. So there's things like GameLift, which is a provisioning system that allows you to provision servers for your multiplayer game in Amazon's cloud. There's a whole set of technology there.
Wow.
Yeah, and so there's our launchers and our deployment systems. There's all kinds of things that are connected to this whole, and Twitch integrations, to say nothing of the Twitch integration. So there's this whole suite of services that are designed to make independent game developers more powerful
As publishers.
Well, potentially as publishers, but at the very least, just give them more ability to do more as independent publishers,
That's
as
awesome.
independent developers.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Twitch partnership, Twitch Prime. Tell us what that's all about. It
Oh
sounds
my God.
fascinating.
I can't, those guys have to be the ones to tell you, but I'm just blown away that on your Prime subscription now, you can subscribe to channels. So that's once a month, that's what, $60 of Prime subscriptions per year that you get just for free. So $60 of the value of Prime you just get for free, and you're giving back to the broadcaster community.
That is nuts.
It's amazing, isn't it amazing? And then on top of that, when you look at the new characters you get from Hearthstone, some of the other programs there's new content coming constantly, free access to Streamline. It's a ridiculous.
It's a beautiful
value.
friendship.
That's perfect. That's just what I need when I'm shopping for. I'm out of laundry soap and dog treats, and let's give DeRoot some money. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's internally, and when this project, when Twitch Prime was born, that what people talked about is we want a love letter to gamers. That's what this is. It has to be a love, whatever it is, it has to be a love letter to gamers. So there's this deep customer obsession, what are they going to care about? What are they going to value? How is this just an awesome thing for them?
So to see these games roll out along with TwitchCon, and to see the reaction of people and fans coming up and experiencing it for the first time, what's that like for you, knowing how much blood, sweat, and tears have gone into just getting it out?
I'm over the moon today. The reception to Breakaway has been just outstanding. There's a line at the booth. People are playing constantly. We're watching all of our coaches train people how to play the game, and they're getting into it really rapidly. And some of our expert players are just hanging out and playing because they just like playing the game. So the whole Breakaway thing has been awesome. But on an even bigger scale, you just look around at TwitchCon and the scale of this year's TwitchCon and how meaningful it is to the industry overall, but more importantly to the fans, to the broadcasters, to the people, as DJ Wheat said, to the people who just care about gaming as a lifestyle.
Right.
It's just become this really, really big thing. So to sort of be on that stage, this close to your customers, this close to this much passion, it's just a thrill.
You're with your people.
Exactly. I'm getting stopped. I walk down the halls and people are like, "Oh, I saw your presentation last night," and I'm like, "I don't know you, but that's awesome."
You have fans.
Get used to
no,
it,
it's
Patrick.
so awesome. It's so great.
Nice,
That's
man.
awesome.
Well, congratulations on all the announcements and the big news here at TwitchCon. Breakaway looks fantastic.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Try and
We're really
sneak into
excited
queue
about it.
and
I know.
get some hands
You
on
might
it.
have an in.
Yeah, right?
We know a guy who knows
know a
a guy who knows you.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
Congrats again.